I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about, does my ex regret the relationship? You know, a lot of times when you're going through the breakup, you're like, are they going to regret the breakup?
Right.
And we obsess about, are they going to regret the breakup and come back? But today, we're going to look at the other side of that. Do they regret the relationship? Because sometimes people will regret a relationship. Now, in many cases, people feel like, you know, this is something that I'm glad that we shared with each other. Sometimes they feel like, but it wasn't progressing or it wasn't working out and I don't feel like it can be repaired. But your ex can go through a lot of different feelings and feelings can change. So just because they feel one way in one moment doesn't mean they're going to feel like that always. So it's good to keep all of this into consideration when we go through all these different points. Because yeah, your ex might in this moment feel like, I regret this relationship. Maybe 3 months later, they don't regret the relationship and they're happy, but they're happy that it's over. Maybe 6 months later, they're like, no, I regret it.
Yeah.
I miss this person. I want them back.
Right. And their view on the relationship can change over time. So you're absolutely right. 3 months, 6 months, a year more, all of these time landmarks make a really big difference. And sometimes your ex during the breakup itself will say these things to you. And these things can be really jarring. They might tell you flat out, I regret ever meeting you. I regret ever beginning to date you. It was a mistake to date you.
Yep.
I shouldn't have gotten into this relationship. So a lot of times in the moment we hear those things and we feel horrible because we never want somebody that we date or that we know personally to that close level to feel that way about us or to feel that way about our relationship.
Feels very personal if somebody says that. It's like, ouch, wow, you regret it?
Right. And you're right. In the moment, they're feeling that intensely. And they might think it, right? But it might be different from how they might feel later on. They might not mean it in that same way. They might not be able to see the value of the relationship until some time has passed. You know, I'm sure we all have some, memorabilia from our past, some special items that maybe in the moment we didn't appreciate them that much, but then later on they become things that are sentimental to us and hold sentimental value. So this is similar to relationships. Sometimes it takes some time to be able to look back and say, wow, that was an era of my life with this person.
Yeah. You know, feelings do change, like the clouds that move across the sky. And, their thoughts will change. I don't want to say because of those feelings, but maybe sometimes the thoughts impact the feelings. It could happen vice versa. And, sometimes the process and seeing what life is like without you is also something that could give them some reflection. Like maybe they start talking to other people and they realize, oh my gosh, all these people don't really care about me. They don't treat me well. I thought there was going to be so many great single people out there and available, and they're all letting me down and they don't compare to my ex.
They must be in Orlando.
People can go through a lot of different feelings as the process goes on. So don't just think that because they said that to you in that moment, if they did tell you that, I regret this, that they'll always regret it. It simply doesn't work like that.
Right. And depending on some of the sacrifices that they have made in the relationship, you might be thinking that they regret maybe specific things that they gave up. And so there could be things like maybe they moved for you.
Does that hit home for you?
I did move for somebody. I wouldn't regret it, though.
That's probably why it was your top choice to share.
No regrets. No regrets. Not even one.
Yeah. Not even one?
Not even one.
Not even the SpongeBob train call that we had?
That one was regretful.
Where she kept... I was like, get out of there, don't go.
And I was on the train.
Can't hear you.
Losing reception.
Losing reception.
Going on my way to meet my ex at his house. uninvited.
You didn't listen.
It didn't work well.
It didn't go well.
It didn't. But I learned.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I think what we're talking about, making those sacrifices, like you made a huge sacrifice to move to the other side of the world to try and make a relationship work. It can really make you hurt and angry, right? You could be angry at them for like, for you, it's like, I made this massive sacrifice to be with you. You sacrificed very little and didn't even sacrifice like enough time to nurture this connection while I picked up to be there with you.
Right, and it could be other things too. It could be careers. That's something that we hear often, where maybe somebody lets their career opportunities pass in order to prioritize the relationship.
That's a
and
good
then
one.
The relationship ends. There could be bitterness, resentfulness, that feeling of regret and remorse.
How many women have you talked to that gave up their career to be a stay-at-home mom, then they wind up in a divorce, and devastated, hurt, angry. Now they don't have a lot of money in savings that they sacrificed to be at home with the kids. And maybe the guy in the situation isn't being helpful. He's being selfish and totally taking advantage of the sacrifice that she made.
Right. And sometimes it's even friendships and family. Sometimes there could be family conflict and they're saying, I defended you in front of my family. That's some of the sacrifice that I've made for this relationship. And now it's ended. And you might be wondering if they feel regret. You might be feeling guilty because they've made those sacrifices and it ended in a breakup. So there could be many different dynamics to feeling regretful. Sometimes of the whole relationship, sometimes of specific things that you've sacrificed for that partner.
So one thing that you might want to consider when you're thinking about your situation is, if I was my ex, what might I regret about this relationship? What might I look back and think, I wish I hadn't have done that, or I wish I had done things differently? Did your ex sacrifice for you or give up a lot for you, and now they're angry at you because they sacrificed something? You want to consider these things. If you're trying to repair it, you need to understand what your ex is thinking and feeling.
Right, in order to empathize, in order to be able to repair things.
Yep.
And it can...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it can feel really defeating. It can feel so defeating to think that an ex might be regretting a relationship with you. We take it personally because there's no other way to take it. They were in a personal relationship with you. They were in a close relationship with you. And sometimes we can see it as a failure. If they regretted the entire relationship, if that's the way they feel about our connection, then I failed at something. I failed at this. I failed at making them happy. I failed at making this work. It can be really, really devastating.
I wasted my time. You hear that one a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I wasted my time with this person.
Yeah. And we all get in relationships in good faith, right? We're in a relationship. We hope for the best. We want it to work out. We make choices based on what we know at the time. And I would say most people would say that they want a person to feel like they're lucky to know them. I want my partner to be happy that we're in this relationship together. I want them to feel like their lives have improved, like I'm an addition to their life. So even the thought of that not being the case, or having an ex feel regretful, can feel like so much pressure.
Yeah. But you have to show up as a great partner. That's your responsibility. So many people don't take accountability for themselves and how they show up, and they just act like, well, their ex was lucky to have them. But why? Did you treat them well? Were you kind? Were you caring? Were you emotionally attuned? Were you respectful? Did you take them for granted? Did you neglect them? So you always want to consider all these things that you may have put somebody through and how that's going to impact them. Especially if you're trying to re-attract that person and you want another chance, you got to know what that experience is like, and you got to do something to really make them see that it would be a lot different if you guys slowly got back together.
Right. And we can't control how somebody else views their connection with us, but we can control how we view it. Right? And if we're viewing our relationship as regretful ourselves, then where does that leave us? You think about people who have succeeded very well in life. Maybe it's, really famous celebrities and actors who've worked really hard at their job. Maybe it's athletes, professionals in their career. Do you think that they look back and say, man, I regret those movies that didn't win an Oscar? Man, I regret those songs that didn't get a Grammy.
Yeah.
And do you hear those athletes saying, man, I really regret those games that we lost? You don't see that when they're giving their speech on the stand, right? They're thinking back on all of those moments because it took those moments to get them where they are. So that's my motivational speech for the day.
And it's true. So you're worried about what your ex is going to do. That's your primary obsession right now. Are they going to regret this relationship? Are they going to regret the breakup? Right? Well, try to consider all the points that we're making and what it might be like for your ex to experience the things that they did. The good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between.
Right.
And consider it, because that will give you a much better understanding of how to navigate things when you're confused and you're trying to figure out, well, how could we repair the situation, right? And think about how you've showed up and how you want to show up in your future relationships. You have to plan to make changes. It doesn't magically happen. You have to work at it actively, right? Because if you've got a partner who is regretting the relationship, then you need to really think about what you did and how you played a part in that. Now, that doesn't mean they may not be distorting some reality and blaming you, not taking some accountability, because a lot of that does happen. So it's healthy for you to think about your other relationships too and see if there's patterns there.
Right. And guilt, remorse, regret, these are all mechanisms of the conscience. Right? And so these are things that push us to do better, push us to choose better. And so if you're feeling regretful, if you're working through guilt, really analyze that. What's next for you? Is that going to lead you to better choices down the line? Is that going to make you more aware of how your relationships go? So
hopefully it does.
Hopefully it does.
Let it be a moral compass for you.
Yes.
Right? All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on our website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
And a lot of people are appreciating the upgrade to the Zoom and
that's true.
enjoying it and making it nice and easy for you guys to do that. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.